This is just about as far north as we can go. Less than 2 miles up to the north is the Demilitarized Zone, and an area that's just about as tense as any area in this world.
Port on rails!
You're presently located in the Military Armistice Commission building. A little bit about this building. The microphones which you see hanging from the walls and also on the table are monitored 24 hours a day by both sides. So everything that is said in this building is monitored by the North Koreans and also our people over in the JDO office. The microphone wires that run down the middle of the table is the border between the Republic of Korea and North Korea. So you're now standing in North Korea, and you may add North Korea to the nations you have visited. A little bit about the Armistice Commission meetings. The 2 glass booths on either end of the building are used to translate the MAC meetings. The MAC meetings are done in 3 languages: English, Hangul or Korean, and also Chinese. The United Nations calls the meeting, then we come in first and sit down. Then they come in and sit down. We give in English our statement. After we give it in English, we have a translator stand up and give it to them in Hangul. After it's given in Hangul, then we give it to them in Chinese, which gives them a chance to prepare their response. Because they've really heard it twice. Because it has been given in English, they have people that translate through earpieces to them. So they hear it as we say it. Secondly, as we give it to them in Hangul, they hear it. And then it's being given in Chinese. There's only about 3 people that care. The Chinese general sitting here and his 3 people sitting right over there. But that gives us a chance to respond. And of course they come back.
Can you give me some outlines as far as conduct, what I should expect in there?
I hope. On the meeting, sir? Or?
Yeah. Just how I should act or...
Well, sir, basically you should be just act normal. That's all it is. I mean, just
Should I wave or smile or anything?
don't do anything like that, sir.
Why
You
not?
should not do any incidents or talk to the KPA whatsoever. And you should just mind your own business. That way they will hopefully mind theirs. And other than that, everything will go fine, sir.
I will address the 5 June incident in the conference building which you have just mentioned. We investigated the incident thoroughly and informed your side of our findings via a secretary's message of 15:35 hours on 6 June 1982. In that message, we informed your side that, quote, our investigation revealed that there is no basis in fact to your charge. In fact, your side's security guards violated established procedures when they entered the Military Armistice Commission conference building while our side's visitors were still inside the Military Armistice Commission building. At the time of your allegation, one of your side's security guards motioned to our security guards to leave the conference building. At no time did our security personnel make provocative gestures towards your side's security guards as you allege. Such conduct by your security guards is contrary to established procedures and could cause an undesirable confrontation. Our side calls on your side to take necessary measures to preclude the recurrence of such incidents in the future. End quote. As your side is aware, it has been our 2 sides' customary practice to wait until the other side's tour to the conference room is completed before entering. This incident has already been administered in accordance with the requirements of the Armistice Agreement. It serves no useful purpose to repeat your false allegations here today. If you have nothing further of substance, I suggest that you propose a recess to this meeting.
나는 방금 당신이 당근에서 있던 대경비원 1명과 미군 1명은 그 맞은편 우리식 성원들을 향하여 주먹질을 하면서 수사관 행동을 해보였습니다. 이와 같은 수사관 행위는 22일 8시 15분경 이 해실 서북쪽에 위치한 당신 특수사로 올라가는 도로에 30 and June 7 and 8 respectively in excess of the designated number. Earlier, your side introduced into the JSA 2 armed personnel, each on May 12, 15, 19, 20, and 23. 3 each on May 13, 17, 24, 26, in June 2 and 3 for each one way.
These two photographs show one of your side's security guards at that same guard post making threatening gestures with his fist at our side's personnel located at the guard post opposite.
The normal MAC meetings run anywhere from 2.5 to 4.5 hours. They're averaging 4.5. The longest on record is 72 consecutive hours. So, as you can see, it can get to be a drawn-out affair. A little bit about the flags. Flags happen to be a big thing here in Korea. The first MAC meeting, we brought in and sat on a conference table a flag similar to the one you see here, the powder blue flag representing the United Nations. At the next meeting, the North Koreans brought in one twice as big as ours. So we then took and brought in one to equal theirs. The next meeting, they brought in one twice as big. This kept going on until the flags got so big they couldn't be brought into the building. So a special MAC meeting was held to determine the size of the flags, and the result is sitting here on the table before me today. As you can see, their flag is higher than ours. Our tip is larger than theirs. Their flag is longer than ours. Our flag is wider than theirs. Their frills are longer than ours. Our frills are wider than theirs. They have 3-tier base. We have 2, but ours is equal to theirs in size. So we hope we've got the Battle of the Flags over and done with. And once it was open, the North Koreans accused us of propaganda, so it was immediately closed. It is presently now used for a conference room for the MAC members before they go over to the MAC meeting, and also this wing is used by the Republic of Korea's Red Cross. They man it every day during the daylight hours. They have a phone from their office over into the Panmunjom, which they try every day, call up to try to renegotiate the unification talks. Nobody ever answers the phone. We go check the phone works, but nobody ever answers it. The white stakes over there that are 10 meters apart and 1 meter high is the actual border between the two countries. Coming around to the left, you see the 3-story guard post. That is a North Korean guard post, and as you can see, we're being very closely watched by both binoculars and being photographed. The first building down here on the right is what we call the recreation building. We call it the recreation building because it has a ping pong table in there, and that's all we know about it. We know that during meetings, that's where they put their guards, in that building. The next building, which has a 3 over the door, is a joint duty officer building, and that is manned 24 hours a day.
Is the actual military demarcation line.
Okay.
Okay, we are not allowed to cross the MDL, which we call it, at any time. But the press may feel free to go back and forth across the MDL. However, if you do, you're at your own risk.
Okay.
And we have 2 telephones in there. One, which is identical to this phone right here, which is a U.S. Army TA-1, which connects us and the Panmunjom. There's also another phone similar to that one, which is a Soviet-built telephone. When we send them traffic, we call them on our telephone. When they send us traffic, they call us on their telephone. A little bit about the Panmunjom, which is a very impressive-looking building straight to the front. That building was built, not only did they push up the dirt to make sure that it was higher than the building you're presently standing in, but they also ensured that it was 1 meter higher than this building. They also ensured it is 1 meter longer than this building. However, it is only 13 feet wide, and therefore it is exactly what it looks like, a front. There's only one office in that entire building which is used. That is the office building, which you can see the window open just to the right of the door. That is their joint duty officer building. The last building down there, which is a double building also, is where their power facilities are located. Their steam building, they're not used for anything else. Once again, on that end, you also see another guard post. We're being very closely monitored.
What will they do with pictures they take of us, for example?
We're not real sure. We do know that, see, they don't know who comes up here. And of course, they can read the press. They get the press, so they'll know when somebody's coming, but they don't know when we'll bring them up here. So we know that they are very interested in cataloging and finding out who visited the JSA area.
But do you think, for example, they'll know that Action News is written on the side of that camera?
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about that. They'll know that. I played a game with them. I was here a month before they got my picture. My driver, when I first arrived, was about 6'2" and 200 pounds, and so everywhere I went, I kept him between me and him. It drove them nuts. I even walked down on the road during meetings and always kept him, and they just went bananas. And they finally caught me. Up here. Over on the left there you see the sunken gardens, and that was built by the United Nations. Trying to be outdone against the North Koreans, started a sunken gardens just to the right of there, and you can see that it is an unsightly, unfinished product. In 1976, when we divided the sector and no longer allowed them down here, that's where it stopped. So that we're left with an eyesore there. If there are no more questions, we'll go up to OP5 from here. Deadly force to stop.
Does that ever happen where someone's come over and grabbed somebody?
No. Now there is a prohibition on photography at this location, and that is that you take no pictures of this blue building or any of the equipment inside. Anything out away from this building is free game. This is United Nations Observation Post number 5. So at this point you are now surrounded on 3 sides by North Korea. Directly across you see Propaganda Village. At this time I'd like to point out, and you can't see the 2 flags in Taesongdong. There are 2 flagpoles in Taesongdong. There is a shorter one, which was the original flagpole between the 2 villages. Then the North Koreans built the flagpole which you see on the left there, the shorter one. Once that was completed, the village of Taesongdong put up a larger flagpole, and they started construction on the Eiffel Tower there. About halfway through the Eiffel Tower, the village of Taesongdong added 50 feet to the top of their flagpole, and then they came back and added more to the Eiffel Tower there. I think we're out of business now because it's ridiculous if we try to go any further. This bridge right down here is known as the Bridge of No Return. It got its name after the conflict when prisoners of war from both sides were taken to either end of the bridge until once they crossed the bridge, they could not ever return. Therefore, it is called the Bridge of No Return. The last time that bridge was used was the returning of the Pueblo, the crew from the Pueblo, when they were brought back. And they were told the same thing. Once you cross the bridge, you can no longer ever return. The guard post down there is checkpoint 3, and just 50 meters this side of it, you see the stump of the poplin tree. That is the tree that caused the incident in 1976. If you would visualize that stump in full growth, and you can visualize that if you look at that large poplin tree there to the foot of the bridge, you can see that we would lose total visual contact with that checkpoint. That's why the team was down there trimming that tree so that we could maintain eyeball contact with that location. That was the only way they could move into the JSA area. Once we closed that and said that they must maintain their side of the MDL, within 24 hours they built a pontoon bridge down here where you see this blue rail bridge. Within 24 hours they had a pontoon bridge up so that they could get in and out of their area, and within 72 hours they built that bridge, and that's why it's called the 72-hour bridge. If you direct your attention out to the Y in the road, out there where you see the dirt on the left side, that is the original location of Panmunjom. That is where the village of Panmunjom stood prior to the conflict. That village was decimated during the war, and during the armistice talks, a tent city was erected there, and that's where the armistice talks were conducted. Once it was decided that an armistice agreement would be signed, within 72 hours, using 300 to 400 North Korean force with all U.S. lumber, that building was built to sign the armistice talks in. When Lieutenant General Harrison with his party walked across the road to go in to sign the armistice agreement, they looked up over the door, and if you look in the apex of the roof there, you see a white item. That is a peace dove. When Lieutenant General Harrison saw the peace dove up over the door, he did an about face, went back into his tent city, and refused to go over, and that he was not signing a peace treaty but an armistice agreement. Once the North Koreans realized they had been caught, removed the dove down from the door, he took the party, went in without saying a word, signed the armistice agreement, left. Once he got back on his side of the road, they put the peace dove back up over the door, and it remains there today.